Hello, my name is Bryant Bonner. I'm a doctoral student at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, and I'm here to present the findings on an ethnography study uh, regarding how Second Life has impacted traditional instruction of teachers. From an outline perspective, there are going to be 5 things that I'm going to cover in today's presentation. First is to provide a brief overview or introduction. We'll then go through the research purpose and key questions. I'll quickly discuss the operational definitions for some of the key terms that were utilized in the study, go through the data collection methods, and then finally discuss the outline and preliminary analysis or key findings from the study. So from an introduction perspective, Second Life is one of the most widely utilized virtual environments in the world and is being adopted by many industries to innovate operations, including the education industry. Organizations across the world are using Second Life to create virtual environments which replicate traditional physical or web-based environments for organizations, and it's used to assist with a number of things, including product development, customer service, improving the overall organizational performance. Second Life, as well as other virtual worlds, has become a key driver and catalyst for teachers and how they research technology and utilize technology in the classroom. So some of the questions that we're going to talk about really in the study is, how has Second Life changed the way teachers teach? And how has Second Life changed the way teachers live, among other things? From a research purpose perspective, the purpose of this mini ethnography study is to describe the culture of teachers that leverage Second Life in their traditional instruction practices. The key questions for this study include, how do the participants discuss the culture of teachers participating in Second Life, as well as the participation within ISTE and the ISTE island. And I'll talk a little bit more about the ISTE and the island itself shortly. The second question was, how have the participants changed their instructional practices with their involvement in Second Life? From an operational definition perspective, there are 3 terms we should note here. First is the ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education, who partner with forward-thinking organizations who share similar passion in education and education technology. You also have Second Life, which is the online virtual world developed by Linden Lab, which was launched approximately 8 years ago. And the third are teachers, or including faculty. They are educators in K through 12, community colleges, and 4-year universities that are actively utilizing Second Life in curriculum and instruction, and have been part of the ISTE island in Second Life. The data collection methods used during the study were virtual one-on-one interviews with key participants in Second Life. Each participant was a teacher. They were actively using Second Life in the classroom, and obviously they were anonymous from a perspective of real life or first life. The data collection process lasted approximately 2 to 3 weeks. We recorded the online chat discussions with each participant through IM, and we used a number of key story-based questions to get the conversation going, which included tell me about the first time you experienced the use of Second Life in the classroom, and walking through a typical day of using Second Life in the classroom, examples of instructional practices within Second Life and how it's similar to First Life, to talk a little bit about ISTE and what terms and activities I'm likely to see on the island, and then finally whether they could think of a time where Second Life wasn't as effective as they'd like to have been from a instruction or curriculum perspective. There were a number of themes that came out of the coding and categorization process, and the first theme was around experience, and that experience enabled greater Second Life adoption and success. It was a consistent theme that came out of the interviews, and it highlighted how important a factor experience plays in supporting Second Life adoption within the classroom. The faculty claimed they had, I guess the faculty that had claimed they had found a successful way to embed Second Life in the classroom all had something in common, and it was that they had a significant amount or tremendous amount of teaching experience, oftentimes 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years of experience just in teaching alone. In addition to this, they also had a substantial amount of experience utilizing Second Life. In addition, all the interviewees stated how resistant students seemed to be during Second Life orientation, that initial exposure to Second Life. And this was especially true with the students that were not technology savvy or lacked a technology savvy background. It seemed from the faculty, they claimed that the students seemed to be oftentimes scared to push forward, and that it was often due to too much technology at one time. They were just overwhelmed by the technology that and how to use technology to be a part of the Second Life community. The faculty stated that the students who were used to working in a virtual environment, maybe had a job and were accustomed to having virtual meetings with GoToMeeting or WebEx or conference calls, those types of things, that they would be much more receptive to Second Life and much more comfortable than those who were not technically experienced. In addition, the teacher stated that the students required a lot of practice time with Second Life to overcome their resistance. The old adage of practice makes perfect is truly, I think, truly accurate here as well, from a standpoint of the students needed to really practice in Second Life to be comfortable. Finally, most of the faculty stated that they were not involved in the ISTE island on a regular basis. Most stated the ISTE island was a great starting point early in their Second Life experience to teach them how to navigate Second Life, how to get started, and develop a small support network of individuals to help them on their way. But that they had not spent too much time at the island given their experience level. So as they overcame the learning curve, the teachers, as they overcame the Second Life learning curve, their dependency on the IST island diminished. And so they weren't active participants in the island as they were at the very beginning. Theme number 2 is focused on how Second Life and the Second Life experience was truly used for instructional benefit. Faculty focused on augmenting First Life instruction with Second Life, and they did not consider Second Life a game or a toy, but rather a tool for reaching students in a way that was not available in First Life. The interviewees considered learning objectives to be the very first and highest priority in using Second Life, and they leveraged Second Life to bring these unique experiences to the table, such as guest speakers from around the world, traveling virtually and seeing places they couldn't do in First Life, as well as conducting in-world conferences. Second Life provided students a double experience by combining a virtual world with real life. The faculty claimed that it was a great way to provide informal learning, and that is an extremely complementary tool to the physical First Life class. This said, the faculty highlighted the need for student and teacher to be extremely prepared prior to class in order to maximize the benefit of Second Life. They indicated it was often the case where students would get bogged down in the technology, and there'd be a lot of time spent on just supporting students in the use of the technology versus instruction. They also indicated it was important not to use Second Life to just duplicate the experiences that could be achieved in real life, but to utilize Second Life to bring forth new and innovative experiences that were not available in the First Life or real life. I think that's a big key. Theme number 3 was really around key challenges and integrating in evangelizing adopting Second Life. There were a number of challenges that have not yet been overcome, according to the faculty, and the most prominent issue was around integration with Microsoft PowerPoint, the tool I'm currently using right now. As we know, PowerPoint is an extremely valuable tool to faculty as they leverage it in support of instruction. It's a great way to put materials, lecture materials, and convey messages to students. However, the faculty all highlighted the fact that it was extremely difficult to use PowerPoint with Second Life. The issue is extremely frustrating for faculty in that they have to upload their presentations into Second Life one slide at a time in reverse order, and that there was very little flexibility to manipulate the slides once you uploaded them in Second Life. So you would have faculty members or teachers that would have a 40-page or 40-slide PowerPoint presentation that was just too big to be able to use with Second Life because of how inflexible it was. In addition, it was stated a few times on how difficult it was to use media players in Second Life. A number of the faculty stated how they would actually have a virtual classroom in Second Life. Students would come to class that way, and there would be some type of media board like you would see in a real classroom. And faculty would love to actually show clips or some type of media in Second Life on the screen. And it was just too difficult to do. Very, very inflexible, not easy to manipulate. Finally, the faculty all expressed concerns on how hard the learning curve was to become proficient with Second Life, and that they, and I think this is really kind of goes hand in hand with the experience thing. It took them a while to get through that learning curve. Once they got past that learning curve, they were successful, but it was really hard to do that. And I think that they also indicated they were having difficulty in evangelizing the value of Second Life to faculty, peers, and administration. Each interviewee stated how they were typically the primary user on their campus or at their institution. They were like the key sponsor from a technology perspective, and the person who was really trying to evangelize and push Second Life to the peers and administration. And they all indicated how it was taking much longer to embed Second Life across campus than they initially believed or estimated. They stated how it was a struggle to show tangible benefit for using Second Life to accelerate adoption. It was hard to convince the administration and peers of the benefit, and it was a big struggle. Here are some pictures from my experience. You can see kind of the places that we interviewed, and what's interesting about this is as my interviews went on, I was able to get a little more comfortable with the environment that I was interviewing in, trying to fit in from a culture perspective. And I think that as I look at a self-critique, self-critiquing myself and kind of lessons learned, I think that was probably, there's two major things. One is I think that you have to embrace the culture that you're trying to learn from for an ethnography study. It's so important that you have to, when in Rome, you have to do as the Romans do, right? When whatever culture you go into, you have to embrace it. You have to be a part of it. You have to be accepted in it for there to be any trust, so that your interviewees or participants will open up to you and really provide you great insight. And the second thing too is it's great to have foundational questions that are going to guide the initial part of your interviews, but I think it's also extremely important to continue to ask the next question and the next question and the next question and peel the onion back, asking for clarification and diving deeper into a conversation. So don't just stop at your key foundational or key story-based questions. Continue to refine and ask clarifying questions and dive in deeper. I found that most of my great insight and nuggets from the conversation came not from the initial questions, but it was the follow-on questions, the questions that were more spontaneous, that were just driven from the conversation. You have to be willing to go the extra mile to get the great information. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.